we didn't plan anything for today, but I wanted to ask you,
Sure. I had a
historic,
question if you didn't.
historically, what's your favorite game?
Oh, hands down, The Legend of Zelda historically.
Which one of them? Because, there are a few.
The 3D Zelda games. And the reason why I'm not like limiting it down to a specific one is because the first video game that I owned in 2000 was The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time,
Hmm.
followed by Majora's Mask.
Hmm.
I specifically bought a GameCube so that way I could play Wind Waker when I moved in with Dad.
Hmm.
Twilight Princess was the first video game I pre-ordered,
Hmm.
and I have been fighting for the motion controls in regards to Skyward Sword have not been as bad as people think that they are. Whether that's a completely subjective opinion, and I understand that, but I've been doing that for about a decade now. And
Fair.
then there's Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess, of all of them, though, are the ones that are furthest down, type of thing. But that's because Ocarina of Time has the nostalgia factor, and Majora's Mask is great for replay value. Just how much can I get done in a single cycle,
Hmm.
type of thing.
Hmm.
However, if you ask me what my favorite video game is in general, I'm leaning more towards like the Xenoblade series type of
Oh,
thing.
really?
Because with certain exceptions, I really liked the first Xenoblade and I really liked Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one that I'm having difficulty getting through, but that's specifically because I'm not a fan of the extra weapons being a minor gotcha mechanic.
Which is
And
the
it's
opposite of me. I actually enjoy that.
yeah,
That is something that actually attracted me about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I never played the first one though, I will say. So, or
that's
any
fine.
of the other ones. Like 2 was my introduction to the series. I know nothing about the other games actually.
Um, but it's just the fact that no matter which Xenoblade that you're playing, the general basis of them is the same. Is you got your team of people, and it's a big expansive area for you to explore before moving on to the different parts in the story.
Hmm.
And the stories in and of themselves are pretty good and pretty engaging anyway. Because like
2
when it
has my
comes to
favorite voice actor in it. No surprise there. He's fucking everywhere. The Japanese version, I
Mhm.
should say.
But like a game that we both play and that we both like is like Tales of Symphonia, right?
Hmm.
But when you dissect Tales of Symphonia's story down, it's just the classic JRPG go get the elements in order to save the world type of
Hmm.
thing. Xenoblade does not have that. It's a different aspect to it. Yeah, if you lean back even further and further and further back, it is the classic JRPG attack and dethrone god. But, like when you start taking a look at it, it's different things and different aspects played on it in the story. Um, Back when it first came out, because I played it originally on the Wii, and in order to fit everything on there, they actually sacrificed the graphical quality of it, which is something that came out in an interview as something that they wish that they didn't have to do, but if anything was there, that's what they were going to cut, so they did.
Hmm.
But back when I played the original, I actually told my girlfriend at the time, who was in Germany, and we'd been dating for a couple of years at that point, I got to like I want to say the midway point of the story, something that had been teased for the last gosh, like with the exception of like the first quarter of it. So like all of that had been teased, and I was literally like, "Look, I understand that we haven't talked in a while, but this is where I'm at, and it's been here for this entire time. I'm sorry,"
Hmm.
type of thing. I was that invested in it. But yeah, no, they're really fun games. I'm looking forward to when I can afford it to getting Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah, I was about to
And
say because we have 3 coming up
mhm.
pretty soon. So I was gonna ask if you're excited for it. I haven't looked into it other than whatever preview screenshots are on the Nintendo eStore thingy. I've actually not checked anything else because I may want to go into it blind as I tend to want to do. But we'll see. Maybe I'll
Um,
look into it some more.
Something that I've been taking a look at in regards to it is obviously like you've seen some of the I can't remember what the hell Nia's people are called off the top of my the Gormati. There it is. But there's like a Gormati looking character in regards to some of the stuff in the previews. There's also from the first Xenoblade a High Entia looking character, which is the people with the wings on their heads
Okay.
type of thing. So there's been I have purposefully stayed away from a lot of that,
Mhm.
but there's no small part of me that's like, okay, I'm going to have to avoid spoilers so that way I can breeze through the second Xenoblade Chronicles and then hop into Xenoblade Chronicles 3 so I get most of the Easter eggs because why not type of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Uh, it's kind of like I don't even know why I enjoy the gacha mechanic so much. It's just like the anticipation of like, oh, what am I getting this time? What am I getting this time? And then
Mhm.
like the payoff when you get something that you really want. Like I'm fine with like when I'm fine even paying for it to some extent. Like if I opt into a game, which is sustained that way. For example, Genshin Impact, which
Mhm.
I've been mildly getting back into again. I mean, I enjoy that game primarily because of the gacha mechanic. Uh, it is very
Right.
satisfying to me. It's gambling and that's bad. But when it, because I don't have, I don't have like the addiction problematic issue around it, so I feel pretty confident that I can keep, my expenses and everything to a reasonable limit. And it's like, well, if I spend I don't know, say $5 on it, like I don't particularly care that that's worth it to me. But of course, I recognize the more problematic aspects of it, where it becomes like predatory and people who spend insane amounts of money on it because it is a fix. It is addictive and it's gambling. So some people will have issues with it where it can become a very predatory thing. For me personally, that's not an issue. I get the fix, but I don't get addicted to it to a point where it becomes an issue in my life. It's more like, yeah, I decide how much I want to spend on this now and I keep it within reasonable limits for myself.
I think the two parts that get me about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and how that relates to its gacha mechanic is you need a certain amount or a certain level of skills to say open some chests or
Yeah.
to explore a certain area, which
Mhm.
is locked by blades.
Mhm.
And so it's just kind of like, okay, so either I can sit here and burn all of my crystals and hope I get what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
or I have to remember and come back here later when I have what I'm looking for. And then the other part of it is leveling up those skills. So you'll need like I was watching Chugga Conroy and I was actually playing with him through a thing. I think we ended up getting to More Ordain, is before I ended up having to quit because of a lot of stuff that I was going through that I've kind of kept you updated on at the time. And so it's kind of what the difficult part was like he didn't have one of the blades that I was trying to work on at the time, and she needed a bunch of different things. It was the I don't know if you're familiar with her. It was the electric girl with the big old hammer
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
type of thing.
I don't remember her name, but I do remember the character. Yep.
hmm And like she's got all of these different things in regards to it, and I got to a point where it's like, all right, cool, yeah, I have one, and it's like, oh yeah, you need like Thundershock 6, and I'm like, what the. How am I gonna get that? She's like, my only Thunderblade with that on it.
Yeah, I get that, but for me, I found that fun. I
Mhm.
actually enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed a bit of the luck factor, although sometimes it can be frustrating when it was like, I want this blade on this person, but I just accidentally got it on this other one. Ah, well, it is what it is. Um,
I think there is an item that allows you to
there
switch
is,
between
there is,
them. Thank goodness.
but I
So
think you're very limited in how many you have of those. I think, possibly. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Um,
It's been a year and a half since I played the game, so
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played it as well, and I don't know, maybe my ex actually has my copy because I had the physical copy for that. And I think that, if you put the physical copy into a different Switch, then you didn't need to restart or like delete your save to start a new one, and I wanted to start a new one without
I
losing
don't
my
think
progress.
I don't think it deletes the save. I think it's the Switch memory stuff, kind of like the memory cards that you
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
have in like openings.
That's what I mean. So I put it into his Switch because I didn't want to delete my old save,
Ah,
but I
gotcha,
wanted to
gotcha.
like start over to refresh my memory a bit on like the early stuff because I'd forgotten so
Hmm.
much. So I wanted a bit of a refresh. So I think my ex
Hmm.
might actually have my copy, and I'm like, do I reach out to even try and get it back? Is that worth the effort? And I'm leaning towards no.
Monolith Soft is a good company and could use the money. That's the way that I'm looking at it. If you wanted to get another
Maybe. I think that probably what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna move on to three instead.
that's fair.
So
But yeah. I'm gonna go on for a little bit about this. Xenoblade Chronicles X is the redheaded stepchild, to use a very dated aphorism of the series. It's less fantasy and it's more sci-fi type of thing, where the remnants of humanity fell in ships onto this planet, and they're trying to survive. Um, and part of the aspect about it is some of the things that were kind of criticized about it was the HUD was very limited and very small in comparison to one, the Wii U gamepad. Two, it was still pretty small and you had to play on a decent sized TV to see kind of a lot of the things that were going on. Because it was long sentences, borderlining paragraphs for some of the little helpful things that would pop up like right here on the
mm,
screen type of
mm-hmm.
thing. Um, but some of the cool things about it was that you got mechas at some point. And so
I mean,
like
for me, that is not a plus. That is not a bonus for me or a selling point. I am not into mechas.
some of the cool thing about the mecha bits though was just kind of like you know how sometimes in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 you'd run into a high level creature that you wouldn't be able to fight. And so uh
Vaguely.
yeah. There's the unique monsters and then there's the ones actually in the first area there's like a level 70 monkey that's running
Oh, yeah, yeah,
around
yeah.
and
But I mean, you can come
um
back to them and beat them.
yeah. You could do the same thing in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and then you just can also do the same thing with like your giant robot that you're piloting, and just start punching it. And it's fun. It's a different kind of fun, and it adds a different level of exploration because then you're able to fly in comparison to
Mm,
just stay on the
mm,
ground as well, which is pretty neat. But
mm.
yeah, other aspects that kind of are iffy about it is that uh, the extra party members that you can have do not level up with you. So if you want to get 100%, you got to take them in and then level up and then do their side quests. Like there's some bits that are annoying in regards to it. I don't blame people for not liking it, but I still had a fantastic time with it.
That's
So
fair. I mean, when you mentioned the whole like defending uh the uh the motion control thingy on Skyward Sword and stuff, I mean, I have the same thing with Final Fantasy VIII as a game. It's just like I will defend that game. I do not care that you think that, well, not you, but like I don't care that the majority of the population on Earth that has played Final Fantasy think that 7 is superior in every way. I dislike 7, and I will take 8 over 7 all day, every day. It's a hill I am willing to die on, and don't even at me. 8 is superior to 7.
This is 9 erasure. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I haven't played 9, so I shouldn't even talk about 9. I have been
No.
meaning to. It's just one of those games that I never get around to playing. I've heard great things about it though, so I'm not gonna shit on 9. I have nothing to say about 9. Haven't played it, haven't watched it, so.
I watched somebody do a bunch of speedruns for a month of it, and I am quite impressed. But I'm just
Fair.
impressed with speedrunning in general.
Hmm. It's
Um,
also not my thing.
uh,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I I will argue that a big chunk of people's love for Final Fantasy VII is nostalgia and it being the game that got them into Final Fantasy. And I can readily admit some of the same for 8 for me because 8 was the one that got me into Final Fantasy. I think and also the person that I watched first play 8 when I was a kid, because like I would sit on the side and watch him play, was my at the time stepbrother, and he was very influential for me in like who I grew up to be. Like I would not be who I am today if it weren't for that guy, and so I have a lot of fond memories of him, of that game, of watching him play that game. So for me, it's also nostalgia and a personal bias. But I will say that I do think, and people hate the junction system of Final Fantasy VIII, but I think it's a really interesting system. I like it because it is very different. You have to equip magic associated with certain stats, and like drawing magic and getting the magic charges, that can be tedious, I will admit, but you can just get the ability to convert items or cards into it, and then you have solved that issue. So again, I'm like, it's not a big deal that like drawing magic takes time, but you can get abilities to circumvent that, and it's okay.
right, right. And I feel very similarly about like Ocarina of Time, because that was my first video game that I owned, and my grandfather was the one that gave it to me in regards to it.
But I think a
Um,
lot of people love Ocarina of Time the most out of the Zelda games
it
because I
is.
think it was the biggest success out of the Zelda games, like in a widespread sense. Like a lot, Zelda already had a lot of love from its following, but for me, Ocarina of Time is the one that everyone knows and everyone's played or seen.
It was the flagship title, or one of them. I think Super Mario 64 might have been the flagship title for the Nintendo 64, but
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Zelda, um, Ocarina of Time was big in that one, and I
Hmm.
think the reason why Zelda has as much nostalgia, if not more, Ocarina of Time specifically, as Final Fantasy VII, was because of the graphical updates that both of them did.
Hmm.
Because if I remember correctly, Final Fantasy VI was still 2D sprites.
Yeah, I do believe you're right on that. Yes.
So it's kind of like, oh wow, I actually have character models,
Hmm.
and like Cloud's sword looks so cool in 3D, type of
What kills me
thing.
though is that people argue that Squall from Final Fantasy VIII is too much of an emo, broody person, whereas Cloud isn't, and I'm like, Cloud is equally broody in my opinion.
There's also, well, like Squall is more, because part of the thing about it is a lot of the media took Cloud and made him more brooding than he actually is,
Fair
because
enough.
he's supposed to be like he's a little bit more down to earth than most JRPG protagonists, but he's still supposed to be the one of like helpful and friendship and stuff like that. But you know, spoiler alert for a freaking 25-year-old game at this point. You know, like when your white mage is killed by the guy that by the BBEG in front of you type of thing. And it's just kind of like, oh, brooding in regards to memory, and we have to save the life streams. Yeah, I get where they're coming from.
Yeah,
I
but
don't necessarily agree
Aerith, I
entirely.
hate that character. I am like, I cannot sympathize or even relate to whatever emotions Cloud might have over her death because I hate her so much. I am just happy when she dies. It's like, yes. If the remake allows you to save her, I will not do it. I will actively work to have her killed. Like
I
that is
think
how
she's.
much I hate that character.
I think there's actually like a good difference in between them that the characters in the remake are a little bit more fleshed out type of thing.
I've played the
And they're
remake
a
and
little
I
bit
hate
different.
Aerith so much
That's
with a
valid.
passion,
That
passion
is
that
valid.
is like, whew, I have not hated a video game character this much in a long while. It's like, and it is a lot for me to do with the fact that she is the typical female character written to be loved. She is innocent, lovable, feminine, like perfect girlfriend material, yada yada yada. She's the perfect woman, and I'm like, I hate this. I hate this so much. And then on top of that, she's a bitch. She's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you back by you getting to go on a date with me. Be happy. Like, you can be my bodyguard, and as payment, you get to go on a date with me. You're so lucky. And it's like, ugh, this makes me sick. I want to throw up all over her pretty little face. Um, I am very passionate about this. I hate her.
Hey,
Uh,
it's valid.
I also hated Colette from Tales of Symphonia. I still like that game, but I hate Colette. And I'm like, I'm happy to sacrifice you.
I think I don't hate Colette. I will admit I don't hate Colette, but that's also because Colette, while less so than Lloyd, because Lloyd's the protag, eventually gets to a point where she's like, okay, yeah, I'm fucking up, type of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate her as much as I hate Aerith. That's for sure. Like I had a thing against Colette for a long while, but I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, she has redeeming qualities. I don't see that in Aerith.
that's fair. I mean, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII. The most things in regards to actually completing Final Fantasy VII that I've done is Final Fantasy VII Mission Abridged, which is really funny. Um,
I haven't played I have never completed the original. I actually didn't even complete the remake. I played a large part of the first part of the remake. Um, or whatever you want to say. Final Fantasy VII Remake, the one that was released, I played most of it. Because I don't think Part 2 has been released, right?
oh,
Uh,
I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think so.
I don't have a Sony system. I don't follow it, so.
That's fair. That's fair. I do, and I still don't follow it. I tried to get through the remake, and I just hated my life playing that.
Part of me is
Partially
like,
because I
open up
hate
Steam.
Aerith, and partially because I didn't like what they did with the system. But then I found out that you could actually do, like, you could set it to be turn-based as the old ones. I didn't do that because I didn't know that was the thing. But I don't know if that was the thing when they released it or if that was something that they later released an option for. I don't know. Either way, um, yeah, so mostly what I remember from it is based on the remake. I did play some of the original, but I never got very far into it. At least not playing it later in my life. I just could not stick with it.
That's fair.
So some of my hate, or most of my hatred towards Aerith is based on the remake. So maybe it's different in the original. I don't know. But yeah, I can't stand her. And as far as Squall's brooding goes, I mean, he is broody for sure, and especially in the beginning of the game, he does get better about that later on by the power of love, I guess. But then he also relapses because, yeah.
I think part of the problem in regards to stuff like that is people take a look at the beginning of a character.
Mm-hmm.
They don't finish the game for various reasons. And I'm not saying that, oh, how dare you judge a character because you no, no, like I get it. People get time, and if the game's not holding their interest, or if they get in a slump and it reminds them of bad times or something like that, by all means, move on, type of
Yeah,
thing. And memes are fun, like Squall being brooding. That can be a fun meme, type of thing.
absolutely.
Like one of my favorite memes about Ocarina of Time, which is my nostalgia game, is the fact that it's held together with spit and duct tape because it is. You can do so many weird things in that game if you know what you're doing.
Hmm.
But like Colette's one of them, Cloud's one of them, Squall's one of them, and because they don't like finish that character's arc, or they don't finish that character's story, and so you get like this is so and so's annoying, or so and so's like this, so and so's like that, and it's like,
I have
not
finished Symphonia though.
entirely. Oh yeah, yeah, which is why we give Colette more of a break because early Colette is like, all right, stop being a self-sacrificing person here. I know you think that you're doing the right thing, but
I mean,
come
to me, it's
on.
not even so much that. It's how innocent she is and how clumsy she is and how she's supposed to be so cute. It's just, when they write characters that I can see immediately, like you're writing this so that I'm supposed to love her and want to protect her. It is not working. It makes me want to murder her. Apparently, that's what happens when you do that with female characters for me, anyways. It's just, I want to murder them.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I think if you do it with cute monster characters, it works better for me.
Yeah, because they're monsters.
Yeah.
The obligatory joke here is that's because you're a monster fucker. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
No, that's me of the two of us. Anyway, um, but yeah, nah, it's character analysis in regards to it is like meming things is fun, and it's just it does get to a point where the meme becomes a character more than the character is. See also Cloud as an example, type of thing, because Cloud was also edgy and brooding in Kingdom Hearts, and
Yep.
then in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and so he kind of got stuck with the brooding aspects of his character rather than the other aspects of his character.
But it's also kind of funny to me because people complain about primarily Squelby and Broody, and then they also complain about Tidus not being like serious or quiet enough, being too loud. It's like, oh, okay, so you don't want them to be broody and you don't want them to be happy and popular and like I mean I guess maybe they want somewhere more towards the middle of the spectrum, but the thing is when you're doing storytelling often you want to exaggerate characteristics, like unless you're doing I mean if you're it depends on what you're writing obviously, but if you're writing like this hero's journey type of thing, then I feel like oftentimes you do want to exaggerate traits quite a bit. Um,
It's something about the character to stand out
hmm
because
and,
like
and particularly, I think in video game writing, because it's often, you need the characters to pop in a different way than maybe a book for the most part.
e- exactly. And part of the thing about it is so you have people that complain, oh, so and so's too broody, oh, so and so's too peppy, oh, so and so's too popular, right? And then they go and complain when there's no personality because
Hmm.
you're supposed to be a link between the character and the game. I think to a lesser extent, I don't know too much about Persona, but I know given that you make like a lot of choices in it, I think that Joker does have less personality than other characters,
Oh
if I
yeah,
recall
I mean
correctly.
Joker is a like stand-in for yourself. Like you're
Hmm.
supposed to insert yourself into that character.
We
He does have to have some small level of personality, but yeah.
the other aspect about it is Link. Link is a direct stand-in for the character. Period. End of story. They like, yeah, you say yes or no type of thing, and it is implied that Link talks through that. But Link is a silent protag through the games. Don't he's not silent in general. I will fight you on that one. But he's a silent protag, and he is that stand-in, and people. Well, I want a Link with personality type. And most of the time, when you look at links, there are different subtle things in regards to it.
Yeah.
But you brought up Titus.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I want to address, because it is the big thing when we're talking about Titus, is the laugh.
Yep,
Because a lot of
that
people like to
is.
sit there and do memes on it because, oh, bad voice acting, weird
Mm-hmm.
storytelling. And it's like,
That is
I
completely
understand.
taken out of context of the story because that laughter is supposed to be cringe. It is supposed to be fake. It is in that
Exactly.
moment like you should force yourself to laugh. You have to do that because the world is watching you. You're in the center of attention. You're my guardian now. And I have to force myself to laugh and smile and be happy because I am the famous daughter of High Seven Nebraska, and everyone expects me to carry their hopes. And if I'm not happy, they'll worry. So this is
And
what I
Titus
do.
goes, and Titus goes, that's bullshit,
Yeah.
because this is what it sounds like. And like the entire aspect is it's like I understand some of us haven't played that game in 15 years and we have the depth the critical analysis depth of a teaspoon as young teenagers or yeah, old like children and stuff like that. But like it is about sitting there and calling out the absurdities of the world and the absurdities of expectation that's been thrust upon you. And
Yeah.
like a lot of people don't purposefully get that.
Yeah.
And I adore the meme. I adore the fact that I think it's there is a relatively high noted streamer that does like a lot of RPG games and stuff like that. They think it's Octopimp, and one of his bit donation thresholds is an edited version of the Titus laugh.
Mm.
And it's like, I get it. It's a funny meme. It's a funny aspect in regards to voice acting. And I'm not putting Final Fantasy X's level of voice acting on some pedestal. It was
No.
good for the time, but compared to standards that we have today, it's definitely pretty low. But like,
Also depends on which version you play.
you can't sit there and go, "Oh, it's bad voice acting." No, no, that takes the entire context of the scene out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's fair to like if you have like if you're someone who has played more of that game and you find other places in the game where you think the voice acting is just strictly off, then that's fine. If you hate the voice acting in general of the game, fine. But to point to that one scene and be like, look at how shitty this voice acting is, it's like you're really taking this out of context.
You want
I,
to criticize the voice acting? How about
hmm?
one like quite often Yuna when she like shakes her head or is like told something, she makes the negative grunting sound and then shakes her head vehemently type of thing.
Okay, I don't remember that.
I watched a playthrough of it recently, which is why I'm aware of it. But
Hmm.
like, there's
Yeah.
other places to criticize.
Speaking of voice acting, though, Persona, I will say 4 and 5 because I haven't played the earlier ones, but 4 and 5 have really good English voice acting, which, like, those two games are probably the only JRPGs where I've had the choice to play them in Japanese and I choose to play them in English. No, I can't think of another series where that's the case.
Uh, Speaking of Persona, for those of you that are unaware that haven't seen it, Persona 3 will be coming out for Steam and PS5 later, I believe. So,
Yeah, I heard that.
but yeah, so you'll be able to play the other one, an older one if you want.
Yeah,
Um,
I've had the opportunity to play 3. I just haven't really gotten around to it. I have also not played through Persona 5 Royal. I own it, and I've started it, I think, at least 3 times, and I've even gotten relatively far one time, but I just haven't been able to take the time for it, or like I have been able to, obviously, but I haven't taken the time for it. Whereas when Persona 5 like standard came out, My daily routine was because I had a job at the time, so my routine was get up in the morning, go to work, get home, sit down in front of like Persona 5 and just play that. And I did that practically until I'd played that through that game, and that took a while. So
Mhm.
my life consisted of work and Persona 5 at that point. So like I it, the fact that I haven't played through Persona 5 Royal has nothing to do with me not liking the game. I love the game. It is one of my favorite games, as is Persona 4. I love those games.
Nothing wrong with that. I did the same thing with Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one, and I did the same thing with Breath of the Wild when it came out, type of thing. So it happens. There's just sometimes where it's games like, this is good, this is fun, I want to do this. This is how I want to relax.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought I would be doing the same with Rune Factory 5. That didn't quite end up being the case. I thought I would get deeper into that. Like I have I don't know, bursts of activity on that game. I was super hyped for it when I thought it was gonna be released, which was a year before it was actually released in Europe, which that pissed me off because I mean, I get that localization can take a while, but for it to release a year after the Japanese release, for me, that is unreasonably long.
To be fair, I'm not saying that it's uh, to be fair to that particular aspect. I agree, but at the same time, we did have a pandemic, and it did kind of shuffle up a lot of people's aspects to it.
Yeah, but
In
I
regard to
don't
like a
think
lot
it
of the
was
works and
due to
stuff.
the pandemic. I really don't.
Probably what they'll quote.
But
Is it's probably what they'll quote
yeah,
if asked
maybe,
about it.
maybe. But I doubt it. But I don't know. I could be wrong. It could be that. I was just very triggered when it was like, oh, well, it'll be released next year. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, you could even have like fans just play through it and they would translate it faster than that.
Yeah. Oh,
Didn't we also have like uh, a bunch of news relating to games drop very recently? Uh,
well,
hasn't there
I know
been
that there
like
was
basically E3 or
E3
something?
didn't happen this year. There was the Sony's State of Play, which came
Mm-hmm.
out and did a lot of things. I know yesterday there was something in regards to one particular company's thing.
Because I have here the 2022 E3 recap.
I don't think it was.
I mean, I don't know. It was just something someone else was talking about. I didn't actually watch anything, but
Yeah. The Electronic Entertainment Expo says that it was canceled for 2022. I don't know what the recap's for. I think it might be what somebody did was just kind of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do the grab all of this stuff from like a state of play or a big announcement related
Summer Game
things and just kind
Fest
of put it
or
together.
something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna open the link right now. It was sent to me shortly before stream, so I haven't actually checked it out. It was just like, oh, here's the E3 recap for 2022. So I'm sorry for the incorrect information.
No worries. Because I know yesterday one of the companies that did a thing had like the I don't know if it was indies or what it was. I didn't take a look in it. I just kind
Oh,
of
this
hear things.
actually, it's the E3 recap site has recent stuff from all events, so it's not just E3.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that they had like a bunch of, I think it was like an Xbox related one that was just, oh yeah, all these things are going to be done in the next 12 months type of thing. And everyone's like, yeah, Hollow Knight Silk Song type of thing, which is fair, like I'm glad that they're getting what they want to get type
Mm-hmm.
of thing. But that's what I'm aware of. We did have a few events like that. I don't know if Nintendo's done anything recently though.
Yeah, I
So
don't know either. I do know that there's a new Pokemon game coming out, and I'm trying
Mhm.
to avoid spoilers for that as well, more than like the starters. I did look at the starters, and I'm like, well, that's fine. I'm fine knowing the starter choices, and I've also seen the legendaries for each version, but I don't know which one belongs to which one. So, um,
I'm gonna guess the purple one goes to Violet and the red one goes
yeah,
to Scarlet.
I don't even remember them off the top of my head. I saw
That's
them
fair.
and then they went poof out of my brain.
Perfect.
So but yes, you may have a point in that one. I'm
um,
probably gonna go Scarlet for the hair color reasons, I guess.
that's fine. I mean, I know a lot of I've taken a look. So generally speaking, the way that Pokemon games come out, the way that I take a look at it is I look at the starters first, and I don't make my decision on the starter for a little while. And then I take a look at the legendaries because it's
Mm,
like, what legendary do I want?
yeah,
Type of thing.
absolutely.
I am ambivalent towards these legendaries, but a lot of my friends want the Violet legendary, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go Scarlet
Yeah,
type of thing.
makes
So,
sense. I never really care much about the legendaries. Like, I'll go for whichever legendary I like the look of the most, and then I'll never use them because I usually find legendaries to be boring. Oftentimes you get them at really high level and they obviously don't have any evolutions and it's just like no, I don't want to like I can't invest anything into this one. I don't know why, but I just can't.
yeah, I think
But I mean, for me, the starter choice is pretty nailed down. There's only really one that I can go, and it's the kitty cat one for those of you who don't know. What about you?
everyone wants the fucking cat. I
No,
think I've
I've seen
seen
so
some
many want
people go.
the fire crocodile thing.
I think the split that I have seen is 60% want Sprigatito, and then 25% want Huecoco, and the other 4% of the other five are undecided, and the last percent want Quaxley. And
Which
I'm
is
like, I
weird to
think I'm gonna
me.
wait until I see the evolutions. I might spoil the evolutions for myself on that one.
I don't think I want to do that.
Don't, and I will keep that in mind,
Good.
so that way I don't post pictures in
Yeah, someone
certain
else is
servers.
probably gonna spoil it for me. Like Pokemon, like I'm usually pretty okay when it comes to spoilers because the things that I care about not being spoiled on generally are not popular enough to where I
Hmm.
risk getting spoiled. Partially because like on Twitter I mostly follow esports stuff and
Hmm.
a lot of it does not really translate to any spoilers. And second of all, like, you know, uh my own servers or servers that I'm part of on Discord, people there generally do not care as much about the stuff that I care about. For example, I did not want to be spoiled on Rune Factory 5 stuff. I didn't want to know any of the characters in there, no artwork, no nothing. And I mean, that was easy for me. Like,
Yeah,
just don't
simple.
search for Rune Factory 5 and I'm fine. But, Pokemon. Pokemon's pretty popular.
That it
Even
is.
among my friends, and even on my Twitter feed. So there's a much higher risk of me being spoiled.
Yeah. I remember that in regards to Rune Factory 5, I messed up once because I sent a link because it had information about the release date that you cared about,
Yep.
and it had some images on that. I'm like, fuck!
Yeah, yeah, even then. But it wasn't too major, I don't think. I think it was like maybe one or possibly two characters or something like that. It wasn't bad, anyways. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I don't care enough about popular things.
I kind of miss the time in regards to video games before the hyper popular advent of the internet. Like, honestly, one of the most exciting things for me was getting Super Smash Bros. Melee and then playing through Super Smash Bros. Melee. and then getting the a new challenger approaches. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's so cool. Or
Mhm.
like the first time playing through like Sapphire, because that's the one that I had in regards to Pokemon.
Mhm.
And then like, oh my god, this fucking who did I start with the first time? Did I start with no, I started with Mudkip the first time. And so it's like, oh wow, watered ground? That's a really neat mixture of typing type thing.
Mhm.
Um and
See, that's
things
why I
like
don't want
that.
spoilers for Pokemon because
Mhm.
one of my favorite experiences there is just going into the grass and be like, "Oh my God, look at that new thing that I haven't seen before. It's so cute or cool or whatever. I wanna catch it. What's its moves? Like all that stuff. What's its typing? That's what I want to experience in Pokemon because like let's face it, the at least traditionally speaking, the writing in Pokemon not very solid. Not very there, in my opinion. It's very predictable. Main protagonists go out and meet Pokemon and beat whatever insert team with insert rule or destroy the world scheme. And capture the legendary while you're at it.
I hope Masuda, who was the lead developer of Pokemon for a while, recently got promoted to the Pokemon Company.
Mm.
So hopefully he from Game Freak. So hopefully he can go, "Hey, maybe we could like give our guys a little bit of extra time," type of
I
thing.
also
I'm
think
not holding my breath, but I am hopeful.
I mean, I'm also hoping that with the massive success that I would say that Pokemon Legends Arceus was, they may be willing to widen their concept a little bit because I mean that was taking a step away from their traditional formula in what is still like because of course there has been Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, there's been Pokemon Snap, and Pokemon Snap's really popular. So I mean that one's but it's still not the same thing as a main title game. It's sort of an offshoot. It's its own thing. But I feel like Pokemon Legends Arceus was like a main title game in its own right. It had as much hype and promotion material I feel as almost a new mainline game. And they did something different with it, and it was successful. Pretty massively successful. I enjoyed the shit out of that game. I think it could have been improved in many, many ways. But oh my god, did I love the format of that game. I need to play that some more. I haven't even finished it. Cuz I
Um,
got stuck shiny hunting. But they did something new. It paid off and I hope that that will sneak its way into the mainline games as well. Like not
uh,
necessarily the mechanics and stuff, but just the courage to even try anything.
yeah, there does seem to be some promising gameplay stuff. I have watched the second trailer type of
Hmm.
thing.
If
I'm
only I
not gonna
wouldn't be.
say details.
If I
Um,
knew that I wouldn't be spoiled on new Pokemon, I would watch it.
I can tell you some of the gameplay things.
Yes,
I,
please
I
do.
can keep that there. I really want to tell you about some of the Pokemon because they're great and they're memes, but I'm not going to.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll
some of
talk
the
about
gameplay
that when
stuff
it's released.
there has been a lot of stuff does look to be taking pages from Legends Arceus, and something that seems to be it's it hasn't really been a big gameplay trailer. But the fact of the matter is there is a scene of the protagonist that they're doing walking towards four other protagonists, because custom protagonists have been a thing since X and Y type of thing through the different style changes and stuff that you can have.
Hmm.
So it looks like they took something that a lot of people had fun with, which was the den delving thing in Sword and Shield that people would do. It looks like they might have expanded on that at some point, or maybe there just is like more four-player co-op related aspects to it.
I know also
Um,
in like the remake of Diamond and Pearl. there was that
Hmm.
done like the cave crawling thing, you could do that co-op.
The
Although I
Underground.
don't feel like there really was any, like there was not much actual co-op to it.
No,
Like you couldn't battle together or anything like that.
agree.
So I don't know. If they're
The
gonna do some sort of co-op, then I hope it's gonna be a bit more involved than just that, at least.
my brain, maybe it'll be like the Xenoblade Chronicles X raid battles. No, I'm kidding.
I don't
But
know what they're like, so.
so you'd get your mech and you would connect with four other people and you would fight a massive boss. And when I say a massive boss, you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Your
Mhm.
mech is about the size of that monkey that you fight or that you find in the beginning type of
Mm.
thing, the high level monkey. These bosses are about 3 to 4 times the size of your mech. These are massive bosses type of thing. It was fun. I only did a couple of them because of my time and where I was at, stuff like that, but they were fun. Um, that being said, we have addressed a lot of the stuff about Pokemon. Something that I've been following recently, because a lot of people do agree, either between gameplay stuff or other things, Pokemon's kind of lacking, and so they've made their own challenges. The Nuzlocke is the most popular one, but I'm going to take a few minutes to kind of promote something that's been kind of gaining some steam for a little bit. The streamer is called I Ate Your Pie, and he made something called the Ironmon Challenge. And generally what that is if you're into challenge runs, that's really cool. That's great. Go ahead and give this a try. If challenge runs aren't your thing, I'm sorry for wasting your time. But what it is it is a randomized Pokemon thing. Um, there is a level bump for a lot of the Pokemon that are out there. So the wild Pokemon are a little bit stronger. The trainer Pokemon are a little bit stronger, and so on and so forth. Um, one of the There's limits to what items that you can hold. There's limits to what Pokemon that you can grab depending on the tier that you're playing. Like, since it's randomized, you cannot grab legendaries in the base one. In some of the higher challenges, people have added rules where you can't grab Pokemon that are higher than 600 base stat total. So stuff like the pseudo legendaries, like Dragonite, like Tyranitar, like Metagross, you can't grab those. You can't use those because those are too strong. Those are not challenging enough, type of thing. And there's a bunch of other rules, but I'll put the GitHub in the description for people that are interested in
Yeah, go
taking a
ahead
look
and do that.
at it. Um, but yeah, it's fun. Other things that I just find fun is just I like to do races. I think one of the last streams that I did before taking one of my many breaks because of things getting busy is I raced a randomizer with a mutual friend of ours type of thing, and those are really fun too.
Yeah, I don't really do any type of challenges, which is perhaps a shame. But then again, I also have issues even just finishing a game, so
That's
particularly on
amazing.
stream, apparently. I don't know. I always get distracted by the next shiny thing. I like starting new things, and I find that fun.
I'm not gonna tell you how to play a game. If you're having fun doing that, keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, here's another thing that I want to share with people, this experience, and then I just want to do that over and over, and finishing a game rarely is part of that. Final Fantasy X is one of the few games that I've actually properly finished on stream. Suicune 5 as well. Uh, I don't know, there aren't that many that I've finished on stream, but some of them
There's
escape my mind now.
I think the two that I finished on Steam stream have been Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Wind Waker. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think I have finished something more than just the two, but right now it escapes me what it might have been. Because I know that there have been other ones as well, but Final Fantasy X for sure, and Suikoden 5. Those I know I've finished on stream.
Mhm.
Ooh, I think maybe Shadow Hearts 2 Covenant as well. That's another one that I finished on stream.
There's also the fact that as I'm taking a look at my library, because I have the shortcuts on my other monitor here, I'm looking at things and it's like, I'd really like to play that game on stream, but part of the problem with that particular game, even though it's short and I know I can do it in a few streams, it's The Darkness 2, if you're curious, is that there's a scene in a brothel where everyone's going at it, and it's like, I can't show that on stream.
You sure you can't on an 18 plus stream?
I think they do have limits in regards to nudity, whereas I probably could get away with it because I'm a smaller streamer in regards to it. I'm probably not going to get flagged.
Mm-hmm.
There are things about it somewhere.
Because I mean, I'm thinking there are some games with fairly explicit stuff that have still been streamed, I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, while I do think that Twitch needs to do stuff in regards to its moderation, I do also recognize that Twitch has probably not enough people to help with that type
Yeah.
of thing.
I'm like, for me, it's like, well, I mean, if it's a hard line for me because it's like, well, just because there are sexual elements in a game, I don't feel like it should be, prohibited. But I also don't think that Twitch should be like a platform for sex, because I don't know how to limit one without the other, you know?
Part of the thing is even if we were wholly on board with everything, like, oh yeah, go ahead, stream what you want in regards to video games type of thing, as long as it fits these very basic few guidelines, including sexual content or whatever it might be type of thing. Because very rarely is a game's content sexually focused in comparison to the mass amount of games that are. The problem in regards to that is then certain companies would not support Twitch,
Mhm.
which would then harm a lot of their bottom line and in turn harm a majority of the creators. Um, like you see a lot of that reflection stuff in regards to, oh, this is being taken off of this particular app store, or this part's being censored, or a lot of talks in regards to it. That was something that, because like credit card companies is just like, oh yeah, no, we want to be seen as this, so we're not going to support platforms that allow sexual content of any form
Mhm.
on their stuff type of thing,
Yeah.
which is balderdash, but neither here nor there.
But then, actually, this reminds me of a conversation that I had. I think it was yesterday, where someone was like, "Well, the reason why hot tub streams were a thing is kind of stupid." Because I mean, it was, as far as I understand it, to just go around the rules regarding what you can wear on a stream, because it's like, if it's in an appropriate setting, you can wear whatever, pretty much. And because a hot tub, if you're in a hot tub, then it makes sense for you to have swimwear, so you can wear a bikini on stream, even though the hot
Mhm.
tub is in your fucking bedroom, where it does not make sense for it to be. But whatever, you can wear a bikini now. Congratulations. You're back
I
to wearing nothing.
I adore stuff like that though because it's maliciously compliant and it's exactly what the fey little gremlin part of my brain does. And to
Yeah.
be perfectly honest, fucking somebody wants to wear a bikini or fucking wear a push-up bra and show off their cleavage, by all fucking means. You're not taking views away from anybody no matter what anyone says. If people were there for the gameplay to begin with in regards to it, they're not going to be distracted by a nice pair of bahangas. All right? I mean, it's coming
I
from
don't
somebody who
even
is
know.
often distracted by a nice pair.
I don't even know where I stand on it, because it's like, well, there are plenty of sites where you can do softcore porn streams. So I'm like, why does Twitch have to be it as well?
And
But
it
then,
primarily isn't. It's just people are taking advantage of something in regards to get a little bit of extra
yeah,
cash.
yeah, I just don't know what I think about it. I'm like, I understand why it happens, and I understand people taking advantage of it and making a living out of it. I mean, it's good money,
Can be.
and there's a market, and
Mhm.
have I have a degree that is in within sort of within business management. So I understand where there is a demand, there will be people to capitalize on it. That's how it works. Um,
especially in today's society.
mhm. uh, so I'm not necessarily gonna get up on a high horse and say that I wouldn't do the same if I could. Maybe I would. I can't even rule that out.
It's just people are going to seek the content that they want,
Yeah,
regardless of what it is that where it's at. If you want illegal related things, there are places for it. I'm not going to list them because I'm not going to share that stuff, and I have no interest in it. But like, if there's things that you're taking a look for in regards to it, you want to see a pretty person play a video game, you can do that. You want to see somebody primarily play a game in regards to it without a face cam, you can do that. You want to see somebody draw stuff, there's places for it. You want to talk to people and get some of the feedback in regards to aspects of stuff that we've already talked about, like parasocial stuff, you can do that. You want to watch somebody make some meals and go, oh, hey, this is cool. Like, there's reasons why a lot of this stuff is on there, and it's because of what people are searching for. Blaming somebody else who happens to be playing a similar game in regards to you that looks that way, to be perfectly honest, and this is coming from somebody that does have difficulty keeping attention in regards to streaming, maybe you need to work on how you're coming out in regards to what's the word I'm looking for to kind of entertaining people or
yeah,
making it you worth their time
yeah. I
because
mean,
it's
ultimately, whether or not you can like actually maintain or retain viewership strictly comes down to whether or not you can provide what people are looking
Mhm.
for. And if people aren't looking for what you're offering, then either you modify your offer or you accept where you're at.
Yeah,
I mean,
something.
I'm more like, yeah, I'm just gonna accept that my viewership is going to be probably 10 people tops, out of which quite a few are my friends. And that's fine by me because I do this because I enjoy playing games on stream with the people that show up. That's something that gives me something. I'm not doing this because I want your money. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing this. So me
Yeah.
modifying that isn't going to like that's just going to remove what the reason why I'm doing it, you know. But if my goal was to make money, then yeah, I would need to modify what I'm doing because it's not going to be bringing in the big bucks. I'd need to modify my offer.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the stuff that I like in regards to what we're doing right now, we've talked about it before. I could make it by figuring out how to use the tags. I could make this a very interesting thing because we could talk about all sorts of very interesting hot button topics and get all sorts of people sitting there and clicking on it. But that's not the vibe that we want. And so we sit here and we have chats about this. We have chats about polyamory. We have chats about boundaries because that's what we want to talk about.
Hmm.
And like when it comes to streaming, I'm streaming because I want to sit there and share games with my friends. If I wanted like the thing that I'm looking at doing in regards to trying to get other money is I'm looking into biting the bullet and figuring out how to be a professional DM
Hmm.
because that seems more fun to me than doing some of the other stuff.
And that can be quite lucrative. I think
Yeah.
you could probably get some money doing that. As someone who is your player, I mean, I
Thanks.
really enjoy your games. I think you are a really good DM. So, you know, I would say that your services as a DM are worth paying for.
Thank you. That is greatly appreciated. But that's what I'm looking at in regards to it. I don't care about making money streaming. I don't care
No.
about other stuff like that. It's we're here to do what we vibe. That's why I've played Fire Emblem, which is not a high value stream game on stream.
It was
It's
with Three
fun.
Houses for a while, I think.
Oh, that's because it's waifu simulator.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It is though. It is. Well,
It's not as bad as
actually, it's not just
Awakening in
wife.
Fate.
It's husband as well. Because let's face it, there's some pretty boys in there too. So.
Mhm. Let me marry Claude Intelligent Systems. I was so mad. But anywho,
He was. He was. He was nice.
he's very cool. He's got very good character. He's very aesthetically pleasing.
Indeed, he
He
is.
knows what he stands for and he aims for it. He's got like
I
flaws.
haven't. I haven't finished the Golden Deer's story. I only finished Blue Lions actually.
I have only finished Golden Deer. I'm halfway through a Blue Lions playthrough and I just haven't picked it back up yet. Um,
Now I'm just gonna go on a bit of a tangent and say that,
go
like
for it.
for Blue Lions, I was actually kind of shocked at the time what the time skip did. It was. I mean, you could call that character development, I guess.
Yeah, if spoilers for a game that's a little bit old at this point, if
Mhm.
you're talking about like Dimitri
Mhm.
specifically,
I am.
as someone that's only finished Golden Deer,
Hmm.
the hints in regards to Dimitri's character, because what I did was every time I had downtime, I would run around and go talk to everybody I could.
Hmm. Same.
And so the small aspects in regards to it between Felix and like some of the other characters, it kind of does give you good foreshadowing
Yeah,
into
absolutely.
Dimitri. Um,
But still seeing the transformation because he still tries to be good as a kid. He is still kind of noble in many ways
mhm,
and he loses it for good reason. But
yeah.
yeah.
Something that's cool. If you like music covers, um, if you do finish Golden Deer, God Shattering Star is the name of the song of the final boss. And Family Jewels, who does a lot of hard rock slash metal covers of songs, got the voice actor of Claude to do the vocals for it, which I thought was pretty fucking neat.
That sounds really cool.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about finishing the other paths for that. I just haven't taken the time for that either. I started Golden Deers on
And,
stream because it was the house that interested me the most, but then I ended up finishing Blue Lions because that was what I was doing off stream.
yeah.
And doing things off stream is still easier for me.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I actually married anyone in my Golden Deer playthrough because I played Mbyleth, and so I was like, "Let me marry Claude. I'm only gonna marry Claude," type of thing. And with my Blue Lions playthrough, I was like, Nadu seems like a very gentle giant, and so that
yeah.
was my goal. And then stuff, yeah, because I haven't finished it at all, and I'm not happy.
Oh, who did I end up marrying? Uh, I I don't think it was Felix. I was contemplating Felix, but I don't think it ended up being Felix. Who the fuck did I marry? That's a good question. Because I think Felix ended up marrying, what's her name? Um, Listia.
Lysithea?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh my god, that was sad.
I ended up recruiting in the Golden Deer thing because I did New Game Plus, so I recruited everyone in the
Mm,
second one. In the first one, I ended up recruiting. I wanted Ash. I didn't recruit Ash. I ended up getting Bernadetta,
I might have
Petra,
married
and
Ash
Felix.
actually.
Ash is pretty good.
Yeah.
He likes books.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the three that I recruited. I was quite happy with.
I also think,
Um,
if I recall correctly, he grows up pretty nicely.
mhm. Most of them have pretty good glow ups. Most of them.
Most of them, but not all of them.
I think the one that I am not the fan of in regards to the globe is Lorenz.
Hmm.
Um,
But on
but
the other
that's
hand, I wasn't a fan of him to begin with either,
yeah.
stylistically.
He is in personality wise, he's a lot like Sylvain from what I hear. Where he's a
Kind of,
lot
but he has a different flavor to him.
mhm. But it's kind of like, well, you just have to get through his supports. And the only reason why I got through his supports is because I only had so many characters to use at the time. But like it's kind of tough for me to sit there and get through the supports of somebody if it's like I have no interest in this character.
Well, I meant when I said that Ash grows up nice, I meant
Oh yeah.
strictly aesthetically.
Oh yeah.
But yes, that's another aspect to it. Yeah, I think for me, what also kills me is Lawrence's voice actor. Is
Sorry.
I mean, it's meant to be that way,
Hmm.
but I don't like it.
I don't blame you.
And I mean, I can deal with Sylvan. I'm okay with him because I mean I saw like I pretty quickly saw through his stuff. Uh,
I
or there were
think
hints towards his stuff very quickly. I feel.
I think to tie it back to some of the stuff that we talked about earlier, whereas if you see a character that's the innocent, cutesy, I'm supposed to love this feminine character type of thing to protect them, where that's a character trope that you just do not like at all.
Hmm.
For me, it's the, oh yes, I'm going to womanize people to protect people from my particular path in regards to things and make it so that way no one's really interested in me. It's like, fucking just deal with your fucking problems, dude.
I can get that.
Don't hurt.
I understand you. I think it's okay to have these tropes that you just
Mhm.
loathe and where you just immediately hate the character. It's okay to have those.
Absolutely.
Well, I say it's
But
okay because I have one of those, so I mean, I will defend myself on that.
there's tropes and cliches that people are allowed not to like, and if you get offended because one of your favorite characters in the trope and cliche in regards to it, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should do some self-reflection.
Self reflection is always good to do,
Mhm.
even for us.
Yeah,
But that it's been an hour and 11 minutes. That
yeah.
time
And
flies. Every fucking episode, time just flies.
mhm.
I could go on about just Fire Emblem stuff easily, because I mean we only touched on three houses. We haven't even gone through Rekken no Ken or seven. I think it is
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's seven. Fire Emblem in the
yeah
United States.
the first one
We haven't
released
talked
outside
about
of Japan and
we haven't talked about
Awakening.
that one. Haven't talked about Awakening. I could go on about Path of Radiance, and I could go on about Radiant Dawn. Haven't
Hmm.
talked about Fates and how much Fate stinks. I'm kidding. For people that do like Fates,
I
um,
didn't enjoy Face, although I will say that I think its Dark Azura song is really good.
mhm. Like there's so much in regards to Fire Emblem that we haven't talked about.
Hmm.
Like Hector should have been in Smash Bros. And
And oh my god, I will never ever fucking accept his fate ever. That is unrealistic. Don't care what you say.
to be fair, Fire Emblem Seven's a prequel.
I know, and I don't fucking care. It's unrealistic. They shouldn't have made him that awesome then.
But if they didn't make him that awesome and they made him a chump, no one would love Hector.
That is
But
true.
no, I
But
get it. I
they
get
should
what you're
just they should do a remake and rewrite on that one.
saying. Hector just ends up being the bad guy because he killed the Lutz.
Yes.
I'd prefer that because then at least he's still a badass.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Ah,
uh,
maybe we should do a fucking Fire Emblem episode at some point.
perhaps. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that would be kind of a good place to stop. Because
I guess
God, we
with
could
us
go on
being
about stuff like
upset, or well, me being very upset anyways, I don't know.
that.
Uh, yeah, it's
Mhm.
been an episode.
That it sure has. We mostly stayed on topic until the end, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was all game related, anyways.
exactly.
And
And then you go.
that's a wrap.